Greetings all, Ramathalatal here. This vlog is going to be on the animated ship's wheel that I mentioned in my last vlog. I'm out here in the shop. As you can tell, you can see the attic roof up there and the lights. I'm out here and I'm getting ready to get started on it. And I figure I'm going to vlog the process for the most part, you know, giving you snippets as I get into different stages of it, what have you. This is probably going to be a multi-part vlog. In other words, there's going to be more than just one part. If I do the whole thing all together, it's going to be like an hour long, and people complain when it's past 20 minutes. So I'm going to try to keep it to 20 minutes a section if I can. So anyway, what I'm starting with today, first step on the ship's wheel, the animated ship's wheel, is the wheel itself. I've got some work I need to do on that before I can get the tower for it made. And that's basically, they have an ornamental silver band here I need to go through and remove. I also need to drill some holes in here to put the handles on. You know, now I gotta get the handles cut and all of that and get them installed, because I need to know what the end dimensions of the wheel are going to be before I can make the tower for it. So that's the step I'm getting to working on now. When I get it finished, I'll give you a peek at it. So I'll talk to you in a little guys. Got my cleanup done on the wheel for the most part. I got the band off around the outside. I'm going to need to go through and sand where the nail holes are. And I was taking a closer look at it. Some of the seams on the wheel are going to need to be puttied. I'll do that in a little bit. Now these holes here I drilled are going to be for the handles. And I got the holes lined up with the dowels are for the spokes. And I'm going to use a section of dowel, which I'm going to use ornaments on. Basically these little skulls, I'm going to inlay them on the handles. So right now I need to get the doweling cut to the length I want and get them mounted in the wheel. So that's my next step. So hang on, we'll go on with a little bit more. I wanted to show you what I've gotten done on the wheel, and as you can see, I did get the handles attached. Now you may notice on the handles, originally they were a round dowel, and I've cut half of them off here to leave a flat shelf, and that is because I'm going to be detailing all the handles with the miniature skulls I was making downstairs in the house. As far as work on, I still have one other thing I need to do, and I gotta wait till this dries a bit. I've gone through and I've puttied all the cracks and seams in it. The handles are still wet. I just finished with those and stuff. So I'm going to let this dry overnight, and then tomorrow I'll come out and give it a good sanding and stuff, and then I can set this off to the side and start working on the tower for it. But this is as far as I've gotten so far today. So it's probably going to take me about a week to get this all done and everything else. So it's a project, but we are making progress. It's now the next morning, and welcome back to the animated ship's wheel project. If you remember from yesterday, I got the wheel pretty much assembled, minus the detail work on it. I left it last night with these just being glued in. The glue needed to set up overnight, and I also puttied a bunch of the seams and stuff on it. It was kind of rough. So that means for today's project, I need to go through and give it a really good sanding. Some of my fittings here where it butts in, where the handles butts into the wood, have a little bit of a lip and stuff on them. I need to get those sanded down so they're flush, and get the putty and stuff sanded down. And then I'm also going to be mounting the flange on it, which is basically the bracket that this will be hanging from. So that's my main goal for today. The whole thing won't take too long, so I'll probably get started on the mast today, or the tower, or whatever you want to call that part that the ship's wheel hangs from and pivots from. So I'll be hopefully starting on that today too, time permitting. We'll be getting going on the project here in just a sec, and then I'll give you some updates as we get along, and hopefully you'll be able to see the difference. Okay guys, another little update for you here on the ship's wheel. Gotten a couple of things done. One I had not planned on doing until later. As you can see, I've got it assembled. It's been sanded, and I just put a coat of stain on it. I'm using product advertising here, Minwax Wood Finish, Golden Pecan. I actually let my daughter pick out the coloring. I should have went with a darker color, but I think this is going to look nice on it. But anyway, it's all been sanded. You can see the handles here and everything. And then on the back side, and let's see if I can turn this upside down without screwing it up overly much. I got the fitting on it. And that's actually going to be the shaft. It's going to sit in the stand like that. And then I'll have my mechanics hooked up to that flange. So, kind of a close-up there. Kind of shaky, I know. But anyway, that's the update. For right now, ship's wheel is assembled and finished. Still needs all the detailing work with the skulls and stuff on it, and I'll be doing that at a later date. Right now I just want to get everything assembled. So anyway, this part of the project for the time being is okay. Finished. Now that I've got the ship's wheel, the wheel itself finished, my next project is to build the tower or the mast or whatever that part you want, whatever that part's called, that the ship's wheel attaches to, and will also house the mechanics to make the wheel turn. This is, I want to say, fairly straightforward, and it basically is. With my luck, every time I say that, I run into some sort of hidden problem somewhere, and it ends up being a hell of a project. But basically, for my base, I've got a sheet of plywood here, 2 foot, by about 2.5 foot, maybe 3 foot. I'm going to be using some L brackets here in a couple of locations. A 2x4, which I'm going to have to cut down, which is actually going to be the support for the wheel itself. And then some 1x6s over here, which I'll cut down to make a housing on, they'll hide the 2x4 and the mechanics. That's my next step. So we're going to get started on that right next. And I'll give you some updates as we get further, okay, guys, further into I've got the basic skeleton for the pylon, pillar, mast, whatever you want to call it. I got it kind of finished here. It's basically a sheet of plywood and a 2x4. Now, to attach the 2x4 to the plywood, I put 2 screws up through the bottom of the plywood, and I got to thinking that's not going to be, I don't want to trust just that to hold this piece upright. So I added L brackets on 3 sides. I'm thinking with that wheel on the front of it, you know, and it's going to be turning and what have you, even if it's only turning a little bit, you know, with wind and weather and what have you, you know, I wanted to support this a little bit more. Now, for the wheel itself, I'm going to be mounting a piece of PVC pipe up here on the top, like that the shaft for the wheel will run through. And then the motor, I'll mount to the back side of the 2x4. So you'll basically have that shaft going right across through here inside the PVC pipe, which will be strapped on and stuff to hold it into place. Now my next chore is to make a box. I'm going to use some 1x6s, and I want to beef this out so you won't even be able to see the 2x4 or the motor on the back. That's my next short. That's what I'm working on next. So be back a little bit in a little bit. Once I get that done, I'll show you how I assembled that. I got a little ways. I'm making the box that goes around the main support on the wheel, on the stand for the wheel. Here's what I came up with so far for the box. I still have some work I need to do on it, but it's dinner time. It's getting late. I had a bunch of errands to do today, so I'm going to call it quits. But I did want to show you what it's basically going to look like. You get out here to the front, and it just basically looks like a wood box. Okay. The hole up here is going to be where the pipe and the pivot point go for the for the ship's wheel. And I gotta get some work done on that yet. So, but anyway, that's what we're up to so far. And I'm gonna go ahead and let you go, and I'm gonna go eat my dinner. I'll do a little bit more on this tomorrow. Good morning. Welcome to day 3 of the ship's wheel build. I've been out here for a little bit, taking a closer look and doing some thinking on it. I did do a design change on it, and that was up here on the top. Originally I had a rough hole cut out that the spindle for the wheel was going to stick through, and I got to thinking about assembly, disassembly and stuff, and I figured it might be better just to have a notch in there that the spindle would sit in. So I did change that. Also, I did this here, and what that is it sits up here, and I'm going to use some metal plumber's tape to hold it on, and that's what the shaft for the wheel actually fits through and rotates in. Now, with what I chose to use on the wheel for the shaft, I decided I wanted to use PVC up top. But the only PVC they had that the shaft would fit through without a whole bunch of slop in there was some thin-walled PVC. And I was a little concerned about that. So I decided I'd add a little bit more strength to it, and I gave it a couple of good thick layers of electrical tape, and then build up the ends of it too, so the pipe would be less likely to mushroom as easy. I mean, it's still going to mushroom eventually over time, but anyway, we're going to kind of go with that. I've still got to get it mounted up here. I've got to get the shell mounted up here on the pole, and then I got to start figuring out the mechanics. And I think I may have run into a problem with the mechanics as well. And here, we'll go ahead and get this set up here. I was thinking I may end up redesigning this box. Right now I got the sides mounted to the back side of the front piece, and I might end up breaking that loose and moving the sides so they're attached to the end of the front piece. Basic reasoning is room for the mechanics on the wheel. I didn't even think about that when I did all of this, and I'm not sure with the reindeer motor and everything else if I'm going to have room in the back. I want to try to hide the mechanics as much as I can, but I think they're going to kind of overhang a little bit, and you'll be able to glimpse them and see them. I don't know. I'm going to have to mess with it a bit and see, but I may end up having to redo the shell here. So, but anyway, project for today is to get this section done and mounted, and then get the shaft also up there and mounted, and then getting the wheel on and giving that a try, maybe messing with a bit of the mechanics before I go on to the next stage. So that's kind of what I'm going to be working on today. I'll give you some updates off and on as I go about it. Okay, I'm doing a test fit on the wheel. I got the shaft mounted, and right now it's hitting the lights up there, so it's not spinning. This pull forward here just a little bit. I'm going to look at the 5. There we go. Anemic economic growth, or they'll cut him slack and say, he doesn't have a point. It spins. The kiosk's fault. Okay, on the back to attach it, that PVC pipe, I wrapped it in duct tape, or not duct tape, but electrical tape like I mentioned earlier, and I used some plumber's tape attached on both sides to hold it. I got one flange on the back of the wheel to hold the wheel. This flange here is going to get this. It's an old electric motor I had off an old Christmas prop, which will mount back here and then run up, have a shaft that runs up to it. So hopefully that's going to work. Now I need to get that shell mounted onto here, which means I'm going to have to take the wheel off temporarily. Okay guys, spoiler alert. I just got the mechanics done on the ship's wheel. I'm giving you a test run. If you would prefer not to see what the ship's wheel is going to look like when the motor's turned on, fast forward to this section right now. And then you can see it when it's all the way done. Okay, Like I said, I just got the mechanics done. There's your movement. And it goes back and forth. That's not too bad. I was going to work on the housing that goes around this whole thing. I figured, well, I better get the mechanics done first. Let me show you what I did. You've already seen this part here. I got the flange with the metal nipple running through the shaft here with another flange. And I've got to trim these screws off yet. I put a little rod coming off of it straight. The shaft going down into the motor. Now this motor and the shaft is not a reindeer motor. It's out of one of those animated mailboxes that you see at Christmas. I kidnapped the motor out of it. And I like the metal shaft. I've been saving this motor and the shaft to do this ship's wheel. Anyway, that's what she looks like. All with all the mechanics. We'll kind of zoom in here. So we got the mechanics working. The wheel is working beautifully on here. Now my next step is I've got to get that housing on here and get it mounted. And then I'm actually, this is where it's going to change from that video I showed you in the other vlog. I'm going to add some, I'm going to make some ship's railing that will attach to that and then go off the sides. So I've got that to do, and then I've got my skulls downstairs drying as well, and I gotta get them cleaned up and painted. And I'm going to be ornamenting both the handles on the ship's wheel, thinking about maybe putting a skull in the center parts here all the way around, and then have a big skull here in the center for some details. So ought to be interesting, but hey, it's working! Yeah! It's nice to have a dream visualized. I've been dreaming about doing this ship's wheel since I found that vid back in March. Or no, actually it was back last July. So